we've already been doing a lot of work this morning. I've done about 2 or 3 hours of brush hogging around the property, and we're real dry out here. We haven't had rain in a while. And Miss Piney Grove actually just mowed everything on the Yocta YXR 710 zero turn. She probably did about 5 or 6 acres. We got our fall garden in. It's in a little bit late. The rutabagas are just popping up. We got some squash popping up there. I think that's broccoli and cauliflower. That's a row for next year. And here's some cucumbers. Now, I'm not sure if those cucumbers or even a lot of that stuff will actually hit its maturity date, but we had to give it a shot. We got so much going on here at Piney Grove with the new house build and getting the concrete floor put in the barn that it just got away from us, but it's planted, and if nothing else, it's ready for the spring. But what I'm gonna do this afternoon is clean up this area right here. I got in here when we first got the Baumolite forestry mulcher and mulched a lot of that, but you can only get so close to big trees with that piece of equipment. So I got the excavator in here, and also I've got the HISUN sector with the Summit dump trailer, because I cleaned up an area over here where we had a big debris pile. I screened all the good dirt out of the pile and took the sticks down to a composting area down at the other end of the property. And I've got all of these mulchings from the forestry mulcher here. So we're gonna put them in the trailer and then clean up this area right here. I mentioned Deb was mowing with the YXR 710, and I actually just got back from the Equipment Expo in Louisville, Kentucky, and did an interview with their Chief Marketing Officer, Brody Milne. I met Brody last year at the Equipment Expo, and I also met the CEO, Andrew Firth, and that's the Firth family from Aeroquip, and they're actually joining companies. Yocta was its own company, but now it's actually going to be like a sister company or a subsidiary, that's hard to say, subsidiary of Aeroquip. We had an interview out there at the expo, and there's a video out on that. We'll link it below. But they are such nice people and such a great company. It's a faith-based company, and we were fortunate enough to get one of their first mowers, actually one of their very first 710 mowers, and we just love it. We've been kind of putting the Kubota mower in mothballs, because between the two mowers, the Kubota mower that we own and the Yocta that they sent us, Deb prefers to mow with the Yocta. She mowed today everything in about 3 hours, and even though the deck on the Yocta is only 6 inches wider than the deck on the Kubota, it probably saved her 30 minutes or more in mowing, and she just enjoys it. We put a cool top on it, and so she gets plenty of airflow with that cool top, and just really had a good time mowing today. They don't want to influence anything that we do. They want us to give an honest opinion of the machine. It's really refreshing to work with a company like Yocta that wants and values, you know, the opinion of the end user, even if it's not gonna be a glowing review. And if I'm being 100% honest, it's gonna be a glowing review from us on Yocta so far, because it's been a great machine. I think there's a lot of misconceptions out there about us content creators, and you'll see us with new machinery, and this machine I'm on right here, the Kubota KX71, it's not sponsored. Nothing on this channel that's orange with the name Kubota on it is sponsored. We bought every piece of Kubota equipment, but we do have some sponsored things, and we like to share, you know, how they operate, just give people different content and maybe give them more data points if they were maybe looking to buy a HISUN sector or looking to buy a Summit tractor or the Summit dump trailer. We don't get any commission from any of these companies if you buy it or not. They're not going to take the machine away if we say something bad about it. They're not going to give us another one if we say something good about it. I think there's a perception out there that if you get expensive equipment, then automatically you become a cheerleader for that equipment, even if it's bad equipment. And that's just simply not true. Like our company, Summit, you know, we're required to do X amount of videos, but there's absolutely no script or anything. We just got to do X amount of videos per month that show the Summit. We don't even have to talk about it. They just want us to show it and let the equipment speak for itself. But this is what we got here just from a couple of weeks or maybe a month or so of decomposing of this shredded material from the Baumolite. You can see it's already starting to break down. There's lots of ants in there. And that's what we're going to do, is mix that with some soil down on the other end of the property. So that's one trailer full from here. And this is just mulched up brush that was right here in this area. It's amazing how thick it was. And even when it's broke down and started to decompose a little bit, there's still quite a bit left to fill that trailer. Probably going to fill it. Definitely going to get 2 out of it. There's another pile right down the lane there. During the equipment expo, I had a little contest with my friend Lucas over at Peaks Peak Hobby Homestead, and it was on a TYM tractor that had a backhoe, and I can't even remember the last time I used a backhoe, and I probably only used one a couple times in my life. And the backhoe controls are basically opposite of an excavator control, and I couldn't get it. I failed miserably. We had a 1-minute time limit, and he dug a hole, and I barely got the teeth of the backhoe bucket in the ground and scratched it, and that was it. I mean, I lost bad. I hate losing at anything, but there was nothing that was going to change that contest. Carefully working through this pile and placing it. I think we got it all here. We'll go over and get the other pile. But yeah, that filled up the trailer. We'll go ahead and dump the trailer and come back and get another load and then start ripping some of this brush out. That's kind of the most fun part of this. I am totally not good at judging how many loads of brush or debris was in here. So this is the 3rd load, and I thought 1, maybe 2. Another thing I'm not a good judge of is time. And I thought I'd get in here and move, you know, a couple of these loads of debris and then clean this area out, which I'm still gonna do in this video. But I can see the sun is getting lower, and it's just taking me more time than I thought. I just like operating machines. I just do. So the time just gets away from me. Well, let me go dump this, and then let's get in here and start clearing a little brush. I think in a little bit of time, we can make a big difference here before we have to end this video. I've got all that debris carted off. Now it's time to have some fun. But before I get in the woods and mess with this brush, I'm gonna wire up this linchpin here because I lose one of these almost every time I go in the woods with the excavator. I have wired these on before and they still pulled out. And one of my viewers said, "What if you don't change your bucket a lot, why don't you put a bolt in there?" And that's a great idea. So I probably should put a bolt in here. Maybe when I run out of linchpins, I will. The bucket doesn't fall off because it's on here with this quick attach. So it's kind of jammed in there a little bit, but it's still not cool to see your bucket hanging. Now, first thing I'm gonna do is take out this oak tree. I always leave an oak tree if I can because we don't have a lot of them here, and oaks provide all the acorns for the wildlife. All of our properties and planted pine trees, and I just try to save any good hardwoods. We have some persimmons and we have some black cherry, so I try to save those. So I'm gonna knock a couple of these out and then work on that thick brushy part there. Just a couple pine rows in, and then we got some scraggly maples back there I'm gonna work on. All right guys, we've been working on this for a bit, and you can see that I've got about 3 rows of pine trees cleared. Now the first row was already kind of done with the forestry mulcher, so I didn't have much to do there, but the next 2 rows I got all with the excavator. So that's the first row that was already cleared. And when I say row, all these pines are planted in a row. These aren't naturally occurring pines. This is North Florida, and they grow pine trees here. and this land actually was covered all in rows of pine. So this row was exactly like that over there. Got all that pulled out. And the problem is not necessarily getting in between the rows, but getting in between each individual tree and pulling out the brush without disturbing the roots of the pine. You can just see how thick it is back there. And just in between all the trees, it's thick. So all of that was over here as well. I didn't take down that oak tree down at the end because I want to keep all the oaks, but I also want this cleared enough in here and leveled, and we'll have to come back in here with the excavator and a rake and all that and do some more work. But we want this to either be mowable with a 0 turn or get it flat enough that we can come in here and bale up the pine straw. But the last thing I want to do is take this pile of brush and move it over out of the way. So this pile of brush is pretty big, and what's really cool about doing this with the excavator, number one is you get it up by the roots so it doesn't regrow. Where I use the forestry mulcher, there's still a lot of stumps there of brush and they're going to come back. So I'm either going to have to dig them out or I'm going to have to spray them so that they don't come back as brush. I don't mind grass and weeds, but brush is hard on a lawnmower. That's a good 5 foot. 5 foot of brush. It's all spread over there. I'll compact it and push it, compact it and push it, and then put it over there in the corner. And then once it dries, I'll be able to back the forestry mulcher right into it and it'll chop it up. When it's green like this, it tends to bind on the forestry mulcher and put a lot of strain on our L3901 tractor. And the last thing I want to do is mess my tractor up. So we'll let this sit for 6 months to a year, grind it up, and then we'll put it down in the compost pile. Give it a little more throttle because I'm going to be moving a lot of brush all at once. Just going to pile it up here and keep crushing it and piling it, crushing it, piling it. With a little excavator like this, you don't crush it by running over it. You crush it by grabbing pieces and then using the hydraulics, squeezing it together, and then just compacting it. But it's pretty compacted right now. It folded in good. And then I push it. And as I push it, it tends to compact it even more. When I pull it towards me, it'll bend it. You can hear the excavator groaning, but that just pulls that into the center, and usually it'll stay there. Well, that one didn't. But a lot of times it'll stay there because it'll break. I think it'll stay there this time. It's one thing that it took me a little while to learn, and that was to push. Just get the back of the bucket just right, and then you can push, and sometimes you can push with your track, like that. So I keep my teeth just off the ground, then I push with my dozer blade on this loose stuff, and then push the big pile with my track. I said that totally wrong. I'm pushing the big stuff with the boom, and I'm pushing the little stuff with the dozer blade. I just checked the camera timer, and from the time I started working on this big pile till now, it's been 3 minutes. It's amazing how much you can get done in a short amount of time with one of these machines. Even better if you're a pro operator, which I'm not. Definitely amateur. Push up into here with the blade, and I'll try and grab as much of this pile as I can and lift it. You can hear it crunching. And once I got that lifted, I'll push the bottom while I'm holding the top, moving that whole pile. So I'm holding a lot of the pile with the claw, holding that weight up, and the bottom of the pile I'm pushing with the blade. Now I got to turn it and push it in here on top of those first couple of oaks. It's only a 24 horsepower machine, but look what it can do. Pushing that whole pile right up in here. Look at that. That's amazing. I know a lot about the capabilities of this machine, but even that amazed me. That's a good place for it just to sit there and rot. Probably the third pile that I've had there. Just sit and rot, and I just clean them up, turn them into mulch, Then I have a clear spot to do some more. That looks really good. But that's gonna wrap up today's video, folks. We sure appreciate you watching. We appreciate your support. And until next time, remember, life's short, tractor hard.